The Texas Parks and Wildlife television series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $50 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. Additional support provided by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Coming up on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
I saw a lot of families standing out there with nothing. It was the saddest day of my life.
Another half mile, you hit the Pedernales down here. And they've got this stuff at the Pedernales too. But it's spreading pretty quick.
They were finding male fish with eggs in it. When they first discovered this, really didn't believe it.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, a television series for all outdoors.
There's a saying that a tornado in its own right can be a destructive force, but a hurricane is a destroyer of cities.
Our employees and our staff, their job is to collect fisheries data in the Corpus Christi Bay ecosystem.
The 2 days prior to Hurricane Harvey, we were out sampling on a Wednesday. We were out in the Gulf when we got the phone call that we needed to come back. Thursday, we had to button up the lab and prepare it for the hurricane impact.
It has just been upgraded to a hurricane.
Every couple of hours, we get an update from the Hurricane Center. It's like, oh, well, now it's a Category 2, and oh, 2 hours later, well, it's been upgraded to a Category 3.
Hurricane Harvey has just been upgraded to a Category 4 storm.
So on August 25th, when Harvey made landfall, most of us had evacuated. It's a dramatic thing to be evacuated and not know about your facility or your home.
If you have not left, the police say they cannot come and get you if something happens. You are on your own from this point forward.
I didn't evacuate. I chose to stay. At the time, it sounded like just a big old freight train right there, right next to me. Getting up the next day, going out, I saw a lot of families standing out there with nothing. No clothes, no house, no car, nothing. It was the saddest day of my life.
Several of our co-workers had suffered major damage to their homes and property.
We had 2 big oak trees fall. One put a big hole in our kitchen.
Chaos all over. We have a guest room, the roof came off of it.
We had a tree go through the roof of the house and a ceiling fell in.
Been living here for 8 years and I got lost. A lot of the roads were flooded, so you couldn't even actually see the roads.
The damage to the infrastructure was what was first very noticeable.
We didn't have electricity here for about 2.5 weeks. We didn't have computers or internet or anything for quite a while.
Basic things that people take for granted in their daily lives, that when they're taken away, you realize, wow, I really took that for granted.
The agency is full of great people, and those people are what made the quick response possible.
Before our insurance adjusters had come by, we had our directors here, and they brought a truckload of stuff.
They helped us out a lot, and it was good to have something to come back to because a lot of people didn't have a job to come back to.
Parks and Wildlife actually brought a trailer down, and we stayed in that for the first couple weeks. Everybody was reaching out for one another and trying to help.
To me, adversity is almost like a challenge. You either give up or you push on.
We came back and we evaluated everything. We started putting everything back together again.
One of the most important things was going around this parking lot and picking up nails. People were getting flat tires left and right.
We would work all day to clean up our offices and try to get our facilities back up and running, and then we would go after work and help clean up our colleagues' homes. It's crazy how long it takes to recover from a storm that lasts 12 hours.
And even though our homes were blown up and our families might have been scattered, we had a job to do and we were needed.
You'd be amazed, about 2 weeks after the hurricane came, boy, we were up and running.
Even though you're going through hard times, there's people that haven't even been back in their house, but they still have the strength and the hope and the knowledge to keep moving.
I know there's still a lot of people who are hurting, and it's sad to see that there's a lot of people that didn't have insurance. I see it getting better and better every day.
Yeah, the coastal Bend residents, they're a hardy bunch. Some refer to us as salty. I saw the residents of this town go through a pretty traumatic event, and we will recover fully, and we'll be prepared for the next storm.
And, Mother Nature has her own ways of saying things, but I just hope no one has to go through this. And if they do, we will be there to help them like they were here to help us. And all I can say is thank you.
A lot of 80-year-old men can't do that.
Mike Eckert lives just outside of Fredericksburg.
Whoa, don't put that on there.
He's heading down to his creek side to check on one heck of a pesky problem.
The best I understand, that don't spread from seeds. It spreads from pieces of it washing out and lodging somewhere and starting to grow again.
He's talking about giant reed, or Arundo donax, and this cane invader threatens just about every river system in Texas.
We're almost to Pedernales. Another half mile, you hit the Pedernales down here. And they've got this stuff at the Pedernales too. But it's spreading pretty quick. And it's all over. Everywhere you go, it's there. So it's going to take a massive effort to ever wipe it out. And I'm not sure they'll ever wipe it out.
Aquatic invasive species specialist Monica McGarity and a team of biologists are fighting back. They are using an herbicide that will hopefully kill this introduced invasive weed. Indigenous to the Mediterranean, giant reed's been thriving and spreading across North America since the 1800s.
Arundo is a grass, but it's a grass on steroids. It grows 30 to 40 feet tall, huge, dense canes, so dense that wildlife really even can't get through it. And so this is a really aggressive plant, and it's important to take equally aggressive action to manage it.
The team's top priority, protecting the jewel of the Texas Hill Country, the Pedernales River.
So right now we're on Barron's Creek. Barron's Creek is in the upper Pedernales watershed. We've done an aerial survey looking for this plant, the invasive Arundo, and found that this is really the source, Barron's Creek. It doesn't go farther upstream. And so we're trying to tackle that, working from upstream down.
This opens up a little bit back here.
Here it grows to nearly 30 feet high. It creates what we call a monoculture. So it just dominates the vegetation, crowds everything else out. Any small fragment of this plant, just a single node, can root and create a new plant. And so when you have a flood that comes through, or when someone mows or chops it up, fragments go downstream, that can create new plants and create a whole new problem.
Whoop. Yeah, that might be about it. We'll go refill and get back at it.
So what does it take to kill this reed? Thoroughly evaluated by the EPA, it's a mix of herbicides that attacks the plant in different ways.
What the Roundup's going to do is it's going to bake it in the sun, just like if you sprayed Roundup on weeds at the house. This one is clear cast, and this is just another herbicide like Roundup, and it's going to be a long-term released herbicide.
So we're applying this chemical to each area only once per year. And we're applying it as sparingly as we can and trying to ensure that we have as little runoff into the creek as possible. These are approved for use over aquatic habitats, and if used responsibly, can have very little impact on the environment.
Spraying herbicide into a creek sounds alarming, but this ecosystem is closely monitored for any damage.
They're breaking, they're breaking, they're breaking. Oh, getting a lot of gravel.
Just downstream, aquatic biologists study a section of Barron's Creek that has already been sprayed.
We're wanting to see if the aquatic herbicide treatment is having a negative effect on the fish in the invertebrate community.
Got a red breast sunfish.
We can seine, we can electrofish.
Oh, looks like we'll pull a few out of here.
Yeah. And then we can get a general idea about the health of the stream based upon the health of the fish communities and the invertebrate communities that we're sampling. You got some red breast sunfish, that's mainly what you're seeing. And then, look at that, holy crap! Did you see that?
Yeah.
Dang, look how big that fish is.
Got him a meal.
That is crazy. Never seen that before.
While that snake seems happy and healthy, and it appears there are plenty of fish here at the creek,
Have a largemouth bass. 169.
Gotcha.
this biologist wants to make sure some smaller creatures are just as healthy.
Invertebrates are really great indicators of water quality because they depend on good water quality to complete their life cycle.
Dr. Arch's grub studies aquatic invertebrates.
I primarily focus on the invertebrates, little small critters. You'll see dragonfly larvae, stoneflies, mayflies, just beautiful creatures underwater. You might think of some alien creatures, pretty much right on the head.
The question here is if the chemical spray has affected the mayfly larva, dragonfly larva, and other microscopic wonders. The fish feed on these bugs, and they are a key component of this ecosystem.
The thing with fish is when the water quality recedes, they can actually avoid that bad water area and move further downstream. But the invertebrates, they can't really move. They're not as mobile.
Yeah, there's a lot of little guys on here.
Yeah, let's see if there's anything else on this rock. See those case builders right here?
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of them here, and they build this shell out of sand particles. Oh yeah, that's a horsefly larva. Go ahead and bag him. Beautiful. Got an amphipod, let me see if I can catch him for you. There's a damselfly larva, that one's super small. Oh, this one's a beautiful caddisfly, green one. Dobson fly in, no biting, no biting. So far I got about 85 of them in this jar. Seems like a lot, but there's a lot of dirt also packed in there.
While it seems plenty of tiny bugs are still alive after the treatment, the arundo taking hold has already had an impact.
So in a typical creek, you might find a huge diversity of invertebrates. Just from a visual estimate, what I have seen so far is in the arundo stands, we do find a lot fewer invertebrates. These invertebrates, which are native to this area, are not used to the exotic vegetation.
The arundo tends to take over, and it causes huge changes to the channel shape that can really impact the quality of the habitat, not only on the banks, but then also within the stream or the river itself.
They didn't get the chemical back there.
Now, as for Mike, he had the aquatic invasive team spray his arundo outbreak and hopes more folks along the creek will join the fight.
What you need to do, really and truly, is have a beer and barbecue, and it'll have the whole town come to it, and everybody know about it. These Germans like free beer and barbecue up here.
Here, we want to be as careful as we can of their trees.
While Barron's Creek looks like it just might win the arundo battle. To win the war, it's going to take a buy-in from everyone.
Lots of landowners are getting involved and taking action to manage arundo on their creeks, and also reaching out to their neighbors and their friends to get more people on board. And by everyone getting involved, we have a really good chance of making a really big difference for the health of the streams in the hill country.
This project was funded in part by a grant from the Sport Fish Restoration Program.
So that's what we're going to use today to try and figure out what these animals are. I'm going to bring out some furs and some skulls. Where's your skull?
Fantastic for the kids. They learn about nature, respecting nature, our place in nature. The kids get to learn and do. And less than an hour from Houston, beautiful scenery. We've got the pileated woodpecker here. Excellent interpretive services from the park rangers.
Well, we're close to Houston area, and there's a lot of organized youth groups in the Houston area, and they like to come out here because it is close to home. They don't have to go as far. It's nice and quiet. It's safe. We have a real nice environment and good facilities, and so they just come out here and they have a good time. We have the hardwood bottomland forest here. We have some magnificent trees down in there and birding, some of the best birding in this part of Texas on those trails down there. We have about 5 miles of trails that meander around the Brazos River. Very scenic, and folks really enjoy them. And now with the mountain bikers, it's caught on here now, and so the mountain bikers come out and ride the trails on their bikes as well.
When I first came out, we saw that the park it's just a wonderful park. Gets you out of the city. We came out in 2001, and there was probably about 2.5 miles of trails, and we went ahead and put in another 3 to 4 miles of trails, and there's about 6 miles of trails.
Most of these trails probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Houston Off-Road Bicycle Association, the mountain bike groups. They came out and they've done a tremendous amount of work for us. They come out and they help us with trail maintenance, so it's really we've been blessed.
The first time I saw a dad and his kid riding one of the trails, that just kind of made it all come together, why it's a good thing to build trails in the state parks.
And all the wonderful zigzaggy trails that you get a lot of exercise, and this is the big park. It's wonderful things to see and everything.
Don't have to go far to get the beauty of it. It's just pretty and it's peaceful out here and lots of good hiking.
Well, my Saturdays are basically spent doing just education, doing hikes and programs, and today it's been, I'm about halfway done. I've done 2 programs, and now I'll do 2 hikes and then a program this evening. So Saturday's the busiest time of the week, and it's the time that I get to do all this fun stuff. We have the eyes facing forward. It's a predator. But it's really trying to get them to enjoy it as much as possible by giving them a little bit more information about what they're seeing. And I love this park.
It's just a wonderful park.
Just a nice place to be.
These 12 high school students are spending a week at SeaCamp on the campus of Texas A&M University in Galveston.
Okay guys, listen up.
Their class is forensics, solving mysteries through science.
Sergeant Brown mentioned yesterday that it's very important that you know some anatomy when you're working with forensics.
Becky Brimmer is leading the class.
We're dealing with mysteries this week and using the different physical sciences to solve them, whether it be biology or chemistry or physics, because all 3 of them and all the sciences come into play when you're trying to solve mysteries. And this is molded from a real skull. He died of a bullet wound. You can see it right here.
You can tell from the side too, like the V is like way smoother right here.
Did y'all find anything over here?
It might be a Mongoloid or a Caucasian.
There it is. Is it Caucasian then?
Yes. Very good.
Christine Pothos is a high school science teacher who's here to inspire and be inspired.
You have to use those critical thinking skills to think outside the box because the world's problems are not in a textbook.
You do have straws. If you can find the trachea and then blow into it, you might be able to inflate the lungs.
Oh, that's so cool! Future careers are always a question to a lot of students. You know, you ask a student what they want to be when they grow up, you know, they have no idea. And this could be something that could inspire them to possibly look into these types of things because those jobs are the ones that are always in need.
Shot in the light of day in a house filled with people? That's cold-blooded, Horatio.
It's as cold as ice.
It's easy to lose yourself in silly television programs. But what about real mysteries? What about a whodunit that real scientists are grappling with? Here's one. It has to do with fish and why males take on female characteristics.
They were finding male fish with eggs in them. When they first discovered this, really didn't believe it. Enough estrogen-like compounds have been put out that there's effects on the reproduction of fish.
We don't want to have fish populations develop where they're all feminized, because if there's not enough males to fertilize the fish, then we risk decimating a population.
Not too many men would volunteer for that, and I don't guess the fish are volunteering for it either.
Here in the laboratories of the A.E. Wood Fish Hatchery, these scientists are investigating the effects of chemicals like pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and toiletries. After they're flushed down our sewers, only to resurface in our rivers and lakes.
They started looking at the extent of it, and it opened everybody's eyes. This has nothing to do with a specific location. It has specifically to do with a large population and a stream or water body that a large percentage of the water ends up coming through the wastewater treatment plant that supplies the flow to the river. Wastewater treatment plants are designed to take out nutrients. They are not designed to take out pharmaceuticals, personal care products.
Scientists have known for years that fish are vulnerable to estrogen and the thousands of products that mimic estrogen. But what about other species? Can it affect an entire ecosystem? And if so, how far up the food chain does it go? All these questions have remained a mystery because no one has tried to get the answers. Until now. This machine is measuring trace amounts of compounds known as endocrine disrupting chemicals, which can interfere with the hormonal activities of fish. Now, Pamela Hamlet and her team are working to answer the question of whether these same compounds that cause feminization in fish exist in other species.
We're starting at ground zero because there's not much data on how much of these pharmaceuticals are leaching out, running off, being absorbed.
On the terrestrial side, this is an area where there really hasn't been much study. Nobody's looked at what the implications might be to things like river otters or, great blue herons, organisms that rely on those fish for their food supply.
The project we're doing here is specifically looking at biosolids. Biosolids are the solids from a wastewater treatment plant. For a long time, they've been used as agriculture fertilizer. It's a good source of nitrogen, phosphorus, organic matter for the soil. And we're trying to see if anything is moving up into the food chain, moving out of the soil. We're looking at earthworms and crayfish and snails and beetles to see if at the very bottom of the food chain, we can see any of these compounds moving into them. As a chemist, doing this is about as fun as it gets. Doing something truly interesting that could begin a questioning process towards an answer or determine that maybe we really don't have to worry about this that much. It's okay, but it's a complete mystery.
Your choices are listed because you're looking at the scale type right now. Do you see what I was looking at?
These students, they're going to be the ones who are going to have to deal with all these things that are happening in the world today. 10 to 15 years from now, they're going to be the ones who are going to be in charge, and they're going to have to make the decisions and learn the new tools and use them to solve the new mysteries.
This series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchases of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $50 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year. Additional support provided by Ram Trucks, built to serve.